they are all meant to be about the same things, about different takes on sexuality and identity and love. But this one could be the first movie really, because it's about the first experience of love and the first physical sensation of being in love and feeling a bodily desire to someone. So that is probably meant to remind us of how it was the first time. Originally, we wanted to make just one movie, but we couldn't get the funding for that one. And the consultant at the Norwegian Film Institute, she wanted us to make a much broader story, a longer story. So then we thought we could make 3 movies about the same things, about the same themes. And then I also wanted to challenge myself in doing something different, really, and try to see if it's possible to make 3 films at once with the same crew and with different characters and different actors. And I also had a lot of actors that I wanted to work with, and I couldn't fit them all into one film. So then it was, it was good to have a chance to work with a lot of people. I think that the conversation, like the one we are having now, is I think it is action in conversation. That's the thing we do the most, talk to each other. So to me, there is action in conversation and in communication. And I don't agree that movies are first and foremost about pictures. I also think that the words and the dialogue is very, very important, because it reflects how we are, really. We are talking in everyday life, and so it should be like that in movies as well. Not all, but in mine there is. Because you don't really always know what is the truth. And I think that when you are falling in love for the first time, so much of it goes on in your head. And it's so much in your imagination, how you want it to be, and how you are picturing the life to be with the person you are in love with, even if it doesn't end up in a relationship. So I think you construct, in a way, the love life in your mind. And sometimes it ends up being like that, but you never know. So that's that kind of ambiguity was what I was trying to portray in the film. I think there is, you can find poetry in a person, in the way a person are behaving or the way he or she talks. But mainly I would use poetry, mostly about writing, I think, because there is the place you have the chance to really do something about the language that are not possible when you are speaking. It is written for her. So we didn't look for any other actor. I had worked with her before when she was 11, and I wanted to try to see how she had developed as a person, as an actor, and then to get the chance to work with her again would be really, interesting to me. So I wrote this script for her. I have worked with them before, and I have seen them a lot in theater because they are theater actors, all of them. And the characters are also written for them. So it wasn't any, we didn't use any time on casting. I wrote it for them, asked if they wanted to be a part of the movie, and then we just did it. It can be like that as well. Yes, it's important because I think we all remember the first time we fell in love, and I think that sticks in our minds for the rest of our lives in a way, because that first feeling is so strong, and so, you know, after that we lose our innocence. We are never that innocent again. So I think that is a memory that that we sometimes maybe are longing to relive in a way, to experience one more time. That's impossible, of course, but that strong feeling of being in love for the first time is I think that the mother and the grandmother in this movie, they are longing for to experience something like that again. I think it's always challenging. I can't think of anything that was particularly challenging. Yes, there is a lot of voiceover that in this movie, so that is challenging because you never know if that will work really. So that feels a bit like a chance to try to make it work. Yeah, that's big, but in the end, I think it went quite. It wasn't that hard as I imagined it to be. I think it's not that different, really. And I just tried to remember my own first love and falling in love when I was 16 or 17, and tried to write about that, which is what I have done. And I don't think I showed the script to Ella, the actor, and she said it's just how I feel, so it's not that different. Yes, they had to have that because they are going to give body to the characters, and they had to, but when we did the shooting, everything was written down, so there's no improvisation in the acting during the shooting, and it's no improvisation beforehand either. It's just that we have table readings, and they give me feedback, and I go back and rewrite maybe based on the feedback. But when we are going to shoot the film, everything is fixed. Yeah, it is. It can't, since there's so much conversation or dialogue and voiceover or monologue in this film. You have to find ways of shooting it so it doesn't get boring, and you have to find images that relates to what they are saying. So that is a bit challenging, and but the words, how they pronounce it, and the way they speak is very important to me. And I think it's also interesting to write some kind of dialogue which allows them to think while they are speaking, as I am doing now, because I don't always know what to say next. And that is how it is, really. You speak and you think while you are speaking. So much of the dialogue is based on that idea, to get it natural and to truthfully. A big role, I think, really. I hadn't worked with her before, and she is a classical composer. And she hadn't written any or composed anything for movies either, so it was a new collaboration. But yeah, it was. I didn't really know what kind of soundtrack we would have to this movie, and often I don't want to have music. When we start the editing process, music often gets in its way. So then you are always considering if it is going to work without music. But you always end up with music anyway. But I want the music to take almost feel like a character. So when you are when the music comes, you will always. I think it's important that the audience get a chance to listen to the music as well. I agree. I think it's yeah, the cloud metaphor. It can be, there are a lot of metaphors in it. It's a stair metaphor as well. And yeah, I don't really, I don't want to explain the metaphors because that's up to the audience to, you know, to analyze it themselves. No, that was really important. We have made this, that, she has photographed all the movies in the trilogy, and I have worked with her before, and we have very much the same taste in photography, I think, and also the same approach in how we work with it and how we are trying to make arrangements and so on. Yeah, and we are also very good friends, so it's very easy to work with her, and we can challenge each other and try to, you know, try to get something new out of ourselves. And since this is one of 3 films, it was also important to make 3 films that look quite different. So yeah, so we worked a lot to try to set some principles for how each film would look. Most literary, I think, because we're always looking at other movies and trying to find references. So we did that as well, but there are a lot of different references. But literature is important for all these 3 films, and it's, you know, in these dreams, it's a lot of the poetry from Swedish poets like Gunnar Ekelöf and so on, and there is also an inspiration from the French writer called Janine Boissa. She wrote the book that Johanna reads at the start of the film, and which inspires her to want to fall in love.